Spies. Bloody useless.
Boom!
Has this ever happened to you? What about this? We've all been here, haven't we? Are you tired of having to deal with the daily pain of existing?
Yes.
Well, now there's a better way. Introducing the Medic. A product of Team Fortress Industries.
A subsidiary of Manco.
The Medic is the 7th class in a series of mercenaries that will fight your wars while you relax in the comfort of your own mansion. Tired of dealing with Provisions Incorporated? With the Medic, your wounds can be healed in the fraction of a time one of their slower modeled dispensers would.
Thanks, Doc. Much appreciated, Doctor. Doc. Wonderful.
Call or order now!
Disclaimer, the Medic cannot be used to bring you or your loved ones back from the dead unless you are under the threat of giant robots, ghost ghouls, giant eyeballs, magicians, Dracula, and the laws of nature cannot be circumvented via the Uber charge. Call a doctor if you are experiencing heart failure, your heart being stolen, your heart being broken, your skeleton going missing. TF Industries is not responsible for any side effects that may or may not occur after selecting this product in the lineup. Please deal responsibly.
That's right, I'm finally making a Medic video. I'm the guy who's claimed main Medic, and now I'm making a video. The Medic is arguably the most important class in the game. While every class usually has something important to do per game, the Medic is what wins those games. Remember, if you lost with a Medic on your team, then, you did the best that you could. But if you lost without a Medic, well then, man, you deserved it, you dipshit. I cannot stress enough how important the basic concept of staying alive really can help you win. It sounds obvious, but if there's someone on your team constantly making sure that you're staying at full health, then you're going to be a lot harder to kill. You're going to play even bolder. You're going to last even longer on the field and in bed. Imagine if in World War I they shoot a guy crossing into no man's land and then he just gets up 2 seconds later and charges again. As a Medic, your most important rule is to be the caregiver of your team and ensure their survival. Much like a parent, it can be a thankless job, but it'll always be worth it to see the smiling faces of your loved ones as they murder their enemies. Practice spreading your healing around as much as possible. If you make sure that everyone on your team is as overhealed as possible, or at least as healthy as they can be while heading into battle, your team is going to die a lot more slowly. Medics win games. How many times have you absolutely rolled another team, and then when you won, you realized, hey, they didn't have a Medic? Inversely, how many times have you screamed at the top of your lungs for someone to please just switch to Medic already? Because you were losing. Medic's healing ability is just unmatched. Yes, a friendly engineer can build a dispenser, but that's not a Medic replacement. You're not even guaranteed a dispenser from a friendly engineer either, so cherish any source of healing you can, because it will make the difference. While playing Medic, you need to think about 2 key things. I need to keep my team alive, and oh my god, I need to keep myself alive! When you play Medic, the enemy team will target you first and foremost if they actually know what they're doing. So your life will always be at greater risk. I recommend hiding behind cover, such as any props on the maps, walls, or even around corners. Your meta beam can reach fairly far, so don't be afraid to hang back if your pocket has taken a lot of abuse. I mentioned this part already, but please, spread your healing around as much as you can. Whenever you're in spawn, you should always follow the guy that spawned with you. You should be constantly building up your Uber charge meter. It doesn't matter if it's a spy, or a scout, or a sniper. If they spawn at the same time as you, pocket them until you get back to the front lines, or you get back to someone that you know, like, hey, I can trust this guy. When the game first starts, it should be your priority to make sure every one of your team members is overhealed before the gates open, and that you have an Uber charge ready to go. Whether you're attacking or defending, ensuring that your friends have more health than your enemies is very crucial. I really cannot stress that enough. Any class with overheal can tank a quickscope headshot, so unless you want your defense to drop like flies, keep everyone healthy. Good day all, Mr. Whalen here, and today I'm going to be showing you how a Medic thinks. There's an old joke in the community that Medic is the class that everybody loves, but nobody wants to play. And I think it's down to an issue of responsibility. If you see a Medic on the battlefield, they are one of 2 kinds of players. Someone who only picked Medic because their team is losing and they were forced to at gunpoint, or someone who is a dedicated caregiver who wants their team to succeed. I myself often start in the second category, but can drift into the first depending on the circumstances. While it's important to always have at least one medic, it should also be important to know when not to play medic. For example, if your team is getting rolled and you feel obligated to switch to medic, I recommend that you don't, and there's a high chance that everyone on your team is feeling that way. I know that might sound contradictory, but listen, you want to be on the top of your game. You don't want to be off at all, okay? Because if you're sloppy, then your teammates will pay for it. If you're going to switch, make sure to take a deep breath first and try to relax. The last thing your team needs is for their healer to be frustrated or upset, which, trust me, it's very, very, very easy for that to happen. Because being medic is stressful, and that's a very heavy understatement, okay? I'm a medic main. I'm a masochist. Anyone who mains him will probably agree. You guys know what it's like when you have full Uber and you are begging on your hands and knees for your team to rush in with you to take advantage of it, but despite knowing that they'll be Ubered, your pocket just runs away at the smallest scratch, leaving you alone. So many times have I been practically, literally screaming at my team to push forward, attack the point, defend the cart, grab the intel or something, knowing that with me, we will have Uber, we will have the advantage, and we will kill all of the bad guys.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I think about killing myself pretty frequently. And why not? What's so great about a living?
But you can't do that. You can't yell at him. You can't lose your cool, okay? It's like this. Imagine you go skydiving for the first time, and you're very nervous because you just fell out of a plane and now you're hurtling to your death. But don't worry. Your instructor, they're pretty chill, and they're telling you everything you need to know. You're confident in your instructor, but once you jump out of the plane and then they start bugging out and tensing up, you're going to lose confidence in them, and then you start freaking out, and then you no longer feel safe. That's at least what I imagine runs through the brains of my patients once I've started getting angry with them. You don't want to put too much pressure on your pocket, but at the same time, you need to encourage them to go. Like, come on, let's go. It's like you're getting mad at the dog for peeing on the rug. It's like, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but come on, you are such an inconvenience to me. It's like the song always said, okay? It takes two to successfully Uber push. Much like guiding frail children, you need to find the right balance between patience with someone who can't do anything without you, and screaming at the grown adults who somehow just forgot how to play the game in the last 5 minutes. Flipping the script, though, is the other side of the medical coin. I have always been drawn to supportive characters. Maybe it's because I'm a teacher, so I want others to succeed, but I have always preferred to be on the back lines and, help my team that way. It's why I main both medic and engineer. I really enjoy being there and giving my friends the support and the help they need. When I play medic, my team is my family. So you better believe I cry a little when I'm unable to save someone like Alex Ramirez 2007 from a horrible, grim fate just because I was just a couple seconds too late. Keeping your team alive is something you should not only strive to do, but something you should want to do. If not for the caregiving aspect, then for the pleasure of knowing that without you, your team would have failed. You were the difference maker. You made the push. You gave the Uber. It was all you. You get the credit. You are the god.
Today, I am a god!
So hey, think about it this way. Medic can appeal to both selfless and selfish players. Don't play Battle Medic. Nobody thinks it's funny. You're being an active hindrance to your team just because you're trying to get some sweet clips for your medic frog montage? For your medic frag montage. If you want to attack the bad guys, just change class if you want to do that. It pisses off everyone else, and chances are, you're just gonna get kicked because you were trying to be the, ooh, funny, ooh, I'm funny, look at me, everyone, look at me, I'm being different, I'm being unique. Okay, that's what's gonna happen to you. Also, even if you are on call with your friends, and you love them, and you trust them, and they're in game with you, don't specifically and only pocket them, okay? Like, I get it. They're the most competent member of the team. They're doing all the work. You're there to heal your whole team. That doesn't matter. There's still 10 other people there that you need to take care of, okay? And while it can frequently feel that as a medic, you're doing all the work, and hey, maybe you are, you probably are, you still have to keep the rest of your battalion at full strength, regardless of how competent you think they are. And trust me, they're kind of nothing without you, so you really need to keep them all. You gotta be a team player, okay? Even if they're pissing you off. And you know something else that always pisses me off, and I'm sure lots of people can relate to this, is when you're waiting to charge in with your medic when you're playing heavy or soldier, pyro, like any power class. You're waiting for your medic to pop that uber because you know that, like, oh, this is a crucial point in the fight. If I can uber and push in here, my teammates will follow me, we'll all crush all the other enemies, and we'll take control of whatever we're fighting for. You ubering in, you pushing in, that is the crucial de facto moment in deciding whether or not you and your team win that fight or you lose and you lose the game, okay? When I'm waiting for that uber, there is nothing more frustrating than watching your medic take 1 point of damage, like the wind brushed up against his ass cheeks, and oh, there he goes, he's running away all scared, leaving you to fend for yourself. And then when you inevitably die and you watch the kill cam, you watch him uber someone else that has no idea what they're doing, and then you lose. Then you try and pick up the slack yourself, knowing that your medic is unreliable. But since you're the only one making a difference and you're going in with no support, you lose! But then, after you respawn, you go medic yourself to try to make up for your other medic's general incompetency because you know you can probably do his job better, and you try to push other people to move forward, but by then it's too late, you don't have enough ground, you can't get an uber going fast enough, and then you lose! Then, they have the audacity to get angry at you for being angry at them, as if there is not a direct correlation between your medic not pushing with you and the enemy team being able to overwhelm and kill all of you. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole the chance of victory. You allowed the enemy team to murder us all because of your cowardice, so we get nothing. We lose. Good day, sir. If you're gonna play medic, you have to commit. You have to stick with your team. If you have the uber, even if you're just a little bit out of position, pop it before you die. Pop it. Don't drop it. There is no worse feeling in the world than watching another medic or you yourself dropping your uber before you get the chance to use it just because your patient ran away or your own medic ran away, or when you swear to God you pushed that alt fire and you hit uber and it just didn't work because there's a microsecond delay between you hitting the button to uber and then you still dying regardless, okay? You know that feeling every man on earth feels when they watch another guy get kicked in the balls and they tense up and they do that? That's what it's like when you watch another friendly medic drop their uber seconds before they get to use it. I hate it! Just have confidence in me, have confidence in yourself, and then we'll have confidence enough to win the game! Oh, and by the way, just to put it out there, because I see this happen way too often, whether I'm playing medic or not, just because you have the uber saw equipped doesn't mean you're gonna kill someone with it. 9 out of 10 times, it's not worth it just for that sweet, sweet 25% uber gain. And yeah, I know, that's a lot of uber. Oh, I only need 4 swings and I'll get a free uber. No, okay, it is not that easy. That doesn't happen in the real world. I don't care what specifically curated clips you saw in a funny YouTube video. The only time you should ever be going out of your way to leave the safety of your team or your pocket to whack someone with the uber saw is if you know that will kill them. Go for it. And if you know that they have no ammo, will always miss their shots, and will miss their melee swing, otherwise it's, hey, this dumbass medic just left the safety of his team, I'm just gonna kill him.
Oh, you stupid son of a...
Now, I'm going to be sharing my personal experiences with playing Medic and how I personally feel is the best way to play him. I've gotten my fair share of comments over the years asking me, why do you play like that? To which I always answer, like what? Aware of my surroundings? It is always important to assess your situation and check your back. As a medic, you are target number 1 for sniper headshots, spy backstabs, flanking scouts, bombing soldiers. Pretty much everyone wants you dead. You are always walking around with a big fat target on your head. It's like you are a squirrel and there's like a hawk and a vulture on the tree right above you, waiting for you to slip up so they can snatch you in half of a second and then you die. Tips for staying alive. Regularly turn around to check for a spy. Whenever you're in a sightline, try crouching a lot, hiding behind your teammates, or just jumping around to throw off your hitbox so that they can't headshot you. Fans of movement-based shooter games should get the hang of this, and I'm not saying Medic needs to be played like a game of DDR on Extreme, but you should be practicing basic awareness. When it comes to positioning, I often like to hang out in the front lines and be right there in the action with my team. Doing this lets me heal more people, it lets me keep my team at the front instead of letting them retreat, and also it creates a bubble of protection around me, because if I'm right there in the fighting, my team isn't going to just let me die. They'll rearrange the faces of anyone that gets near me. Whenever you're attacking and you need to push the objective, don't forget that you have a built-in voice command feature that will make your teammates go with you. If you don't have a microphone, that is, and also if you're not a free-to-play. I like to corral my patients forward by moving ahead of them, to goat them into actually pushing with me. It's also very important to take advantage of a very crucial feature. When you're uber-charged, obviously, you're invincible. But what should you do while your patient does all the work? Definitely not just stand there. You need to run ahead of your patient, blocking any oncoming fire. Body blocking is key. It gets the heat off of your patient so they can't just be pushed around. Plus, making sure a sentry targets you instead of your buddy is integral. Get in the faces of your enemies, absorb their bullets and rockets. Then, by the time they've realized that they've wasted all their resources, here comes your patient ready to bring the pain. When it comes to who you should uber, I rationalize it with damage and output. This might sound odd, but I genuinely do think that when you're using your Uber, you should be taking full advantage of it, and you can't let things like ammo count, reload time, or aiming impede your progress, which is why I believe Heavy should be the best candidate to Uber. I know it's cliche, but his sustained fire makes it way easier to rack up massive damage. Pyro as well is also very useful. Both classes rely on a weapon that you don't need to waste time reloading, so you can focus on just battery ramming right into your foes. Yes, before you type up a comment about how you think I'm stupid and you hate me, Soldier and Demoman are very important too, but if they can't hit their shots or their clip isn't full, you're just wasting time. You're only Ubered for about 8 seconds, which is, in TF2 time, a blink and you miss it kind of thing. Everything I've said also applies to the Kritzkrieg, by the way. Heavy and Pyro are the optimal candidates. They're the safe bet, okay? I'm not saying that Crockets and crit pills aren't deadly or aren't important, but if your patient chokes and misses his shots, that's all missed potential. Something you can avoid with sustained fire. Medic is the easiest class in the game to win with. I believe he has a very low skill floor and a decently sized skill ceiling. I left this part for last because I feel like Medic is so inherently easy to understand and easy to just pick up and play that I feel like overtly explaining all of his weapons and items are pointless. Who's gonna waste their time studying that? But for real beginners, I'll give you some pointers. Because hey, we all started somewhere. When I first played the game, I didn't know how to Uber charge because there was no Medic tutorial and there was no button prompt or anything like that. Here's a pointer. Use the Crusader's crossbow. Did you know the Crusader's crossbow is really good? Unlock it, find it through an item drop, trade for one, buy it, or just rent it from the Manco store. It doesn't matter how you get it, but the crossbow might as well be Medic's default primary. The needles, they suck. There's no point in using them. The crossbow provides instantaneous healing from long range. Let me repeat that. Instantaneous healing up to 100 or more health in an instant from long range. It is exceedingly useful. Use it as often as you can. Did you know that it's good? Now you know. Here's a big question that I get asked a lot by homeless people down the street. Kritzkrieg or Ubercharge? And the answer is honestly, it depends on your situation. I find myself using the Kritzkrieg more often on attack because you want a strong push right out of the gate with lots of damage. You want to make rapid progress. An Uber on defense can counter this though, along with giving you footing to stand your ground. However, the same can be said of the opposite, because if you're defending, a Kritzkrieg can come in handy to squash any of the attackers, or an Uber charge can help you push through a strong defense. It all comes back to situational awareness and the calls that you have to make. The state of the game is rapidly changing, things evolve all the time, and you gotta figure out what's best for you and your team in that exact moment. Quick fix, it's really good for rapid pushes and if you had to switch to medic in a pinch. It keeps people alive quickly and the healing factor is pretty much uncontested. If you don't care about raw uber power or crits and prefer strength and numbers to overwhelm your opponents, I'd go with the quick fix. You can keep people more active and overhealed so more people can push, but again, it all depends on the situation. The Vaccinator. Love it or hate it, its core design is that it's supposed to heal multiple people at once. It's not a metagun designed to pocket one person. The slow building 4 charges of this gun means you have to quickly switch to other patients to charge it as quickly as you can. This is a metagun where you need to hang out in the back lines. Give a person a defensive buff so that they can rush into attack and get the most of it. This is probably the only metagun that does encourage you to hang out in the back lines because you're going to give your teammates a defensive buff, they'll push in, do damage, come back to you for healing, get another defensive buff, and then they go back in. Get another shield, and then they go back in. It's a cycle that repeats. they are the people that need to rush into attack so that they can get the most out of it. This is the most supportive, depending on your teammates' kind of play style. Its sheer power to resist damage, however, is unparalleled. Plus the fact that you can stack 2 resistances at one time, it can shut down nearly every class in the game. If you use the Vaccinator, I can't stress enough, it's not something that you're supposed to charge in with like you would crits or Uber. I know that it is very powerful with shutting down other classes, but it has to be used the most strategically out of all the other meta guns to get the most out of it. Now that you've watched this video, you've gained all the knowledge necessary to get out there and not piss off your teammates. With these skills, you'll be carrying your team to victory for countless rounds to come. Medic is a class that is constantly evolving as the game progresses. Don't be afraid to switch things up if what you're trying isn't working right then and there. If at first you don't succeed, figure out why. If your team can't move forward, pop the Kritzkrieg and blow the enemy away. If everyone's dying, then use the quick fix. If you need to stand your ground, then an Uber charge could be your best bet. Not getting the result you want as a medic is normal. It happens, just like real life doctors. And even if you can't control your teammates, or you can't control the enemy, and you can't control the battlefield itself, you can still control just how long people have to walk around in it. Hopefully you actually learned something while watching this video. Maybe I've changed your whole perception of Medic as a class, or maybe I just validated your pre-existing opinions. Whichever the case, leave a comment down below and let me know. If you liked this video, like and subscribe obviously, and if you didn't like this video, fuck you then! Unsubscribe! Why'd you even watch the whole video then, moron? Anyway, my name is Waylon, and if you can excuse me, I gotta go push last on Dust Bowl. See you later!
Medic!
Alright, I'm on my way!